Act 117 of 1998, that a council meeting of the 2016-2021 term of the Garden District Municipality will be held via Zoom on Tuesday, 24 August 2021 at 11 o'clock. It's already 11 o'clock to consider the items as set out in the agenda. Let me take this opportunity to welcome our Executive Mayor. Good morning, Mr. Mayor. Our Deputy Executive Mayor, all the members of the Mayoral Committee, the councillors, our Municipal Manager, and our precious staff. Thank you so much for attending this meeting, and I wish you all a very productive meeting. May I then request that we have a silent prayer? And when we do that, let's also think of the brutal murder of Ms. Mtibeni and all the other lady folk that also passed on, and everybody else that suffered through gender-based violence, COVID-19. When we pray, let's think of them. Can I please ask all gentlemen to please stand? Thank you. Thank you very much. Please be seated. Thank you, colleagues. I've received applications for leave of absence from Councillor Harris, Councillor Gungubele, Councillor Bandezi, and Alderman de Vries requested that he be excused a bit earlier. We're not finished by then with our agenda. Alderman de Vries, safe travels to you as well. Any other applications for leave of absence?
My hand is not up, Speaker, but I am speaking on behalf of someone else. Sorry for that. Councillor Mogopeni is not able to attend today's council meeting because of political activities that is beyond their control. Thank you. Please, really appreciate that.
Thank you very much, Alderman van der Hoofden. Any other applications for leave of absence? Councillor Lamajin requested me that he will be joining us at his home, and not in the committee room. He's not feeling well, and we wish him a speedy recovery as well. Same goes to Councillor Bandezi. Please, let's keep them all in our prayers. Thank you. Then we move to item 4. It's the noting of the provisions of Schedule 1 of the Code of Conduct for Councillors. Can we note that, councillors? We do. Thank you. Then disclosure of interest by councillors and officials. Any councillor that would like to declare pecuniary interest on any item that he or she wishes to be recused, and or anybody from your side? Thank you. Then we move to item 6. That's the communications by the Executive Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Please proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and good morning to everybody, councillors, officials, those who are streaming, who are following us from home. Good morning to everyone. Mr. Speaker, I'm going to be very short today. I'm just going to deal with some of the crucial matters at hand. And one of the first things, Mr. Speaker, is that we're very good in celebrating events as South Africans year after year, week after week, day after day. And we're also very good in creating policies. The challenge is the implementation of those policies. And the other challenge is the events we celebrate, how we commemorate these events. That is also one of the big challenges. And point in case, Mr. Speaker, we know that this is Women's Month. It is August, it's almost the end of August. And we are celebrating our women, our sisters, our mothers, nieces, etc. And what still gives me sleepless nights, colleagues, is the fact that if one looks at the headlines in the newspapers, in the media, and I'm now referring to what is happening within the Garden Route district as a whole, the crime stats are horrendous. And if it's not boyfriends killing their girlfriends, it is children killing their parents. It is just scary, Mr. Speaker. I know that in this platform, we won't have the silver bullet for that. But what I do know, Mr. Speaker, as well, is that probably at one stage, we really need to have an engagement. I know when we have these community safety summits, etc., we have the police there, we have everybody there. But I do think, Mr. Speaker, we probably also need a separate engagement with, what's it called, the judiciary, crime intelligence, I don't know what it's called. But it's a session where we don't always understand. And even when we do engage the police would illustrate that they have done their part. And the trust becomes when the perpetrators or the mochus in Afrikaans, when they back again within a couple of hours, you know, then all of those create trust deficits, Mr. Speaker. So I am worried about the stats, and in general, the crime stats within the Garden Route are too high compared to other districts within the Western Cape. And then, Mr. Speaker, we also know that on a daily basis, we get the other scary figures regarding COVID. And even, I keep on saying, even if it's just one incident, it is one positive incident too many, let alone when we lose loved ones because of the COVID-19 pandemic. What has also come to my attention, Mr. Speaker, is apart from the fake news and these other theories, these bad theories regarding the vaccinations, etc., it came to my attention, Mr. Speaker, that there's still a lot of skepticism. And I want to plead to everyone, I am a living example of taking my first jab and taking my second jab. And some people, because they know of people who have showed signs of side effects, that is normal. That is normal. Some people get it, some people don't get it. And if you do get it, it is normal. I'm a living example of that. And I said the last time, and I'm going to repeat this, is that the medical practitioners are saying that is a clear sign that your red blood cell, or what is it called in English? Your red blood cells and the defensive mechanisms of the body, it means that the guys are working overtime. So it's a good sign. So please, my plea is to those who are now qualifying, I think it's the 18-year-olds upwards to 35, please go and get your jabs. And based on that, Mr. Speaker, we had an engagement with the George Hospital in terms of, and I want to say thank you to those who are taking this seriously, who are going to the vaccination sites. There are places where there are very, very long queues. And what we have done as the Garden Route District Municipality, we have availed an additional 20 EPWP workers to go and assist the health community workers at these vaccination facilities. And those 20 are managed by the George Hospital. And we've already received positive feedback, and it did make a difference in terms of dealing with the administrative processes within the queues. And also, I can also say here that the 20 that has been deployed by the Garden Route District Municipality, they receive their jabs. So we are aware that the frontline people are exposed to this, and these people, based on their passion and their passion to assist in fighting this pandemic, they have volunteered to be deployed, and they have volunteered to take their jabs. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Mr. Meyer. I see Alderman Gerike's hand. Thank you, Alderman Gerike.
Speaker, thank you. Morning, Mr. Mayor, Executive Mayor, MM, and all other colleagues. Let me just elaborate for a second on the crime stats. We agree, we are equally worried, concerned about the crime stats. We have just read this morning, Mr. Speaker, about a small little child from a primary school sitting on a corner somewhere in Borges with a knife, with an Okapi knife, trying to prevent other primary school children not to go to school. This happens in our communities. A parent then took her child to the school and met up with this small little child along the wayside, trying to intimidate other primary school children. So the crime stats are high. And we hear in many meetings, we have heard that the police are doing their utmost best and so on, and most probably so with the limited resources to their availability. But we must also ask ourselves this morning, are we living in a highly unequal society? Really unequal society. And it is a common fact, given that the socioeconomic circumstances of our people are a contributing factor towards these high crime stats. And I'm just drawing your attention to this, that we must roll up our sleeves as politicians to make a dent in the socioeconomic circumstances of our people. It cannot be business as usual. I've said this many times. And we won't be able to eradicate crime in our communities unless we address the issue of housing, social issues, unemployment, and so on and so on. On the issue of COVID, Mr. Mayor, I have just recently lost my 50-year-old sister. She passed on due to COVID. Heartbreaking for us as a family. And I agree also, such a lot of conspiracy theories when it comes to the vaccination and people taking the jab. Again, let me share this with you because this is a gross point of concern. This morning, I have read on Facebook about a pastor, Mr. Mayor, issuing a statement and telling people that those that go for the jab, they have fake faith. Now, this is a serious indictment. This is, you know, against those that families that died and suffer, to tell people these are the very same pastors that take their children to the clinics and the hospitals when they are sick, that take their wives and their mothers to the hospitals and to the doctors. But now they discourage other people when they want to take the jab in order to prevent a further spread of this COVID. This real enemy that's killing our people. And we cannot we cannot condone conspiracy theories. There's enough medical supports and medical substance studies that have revealed that the vaccines and the jab will at least prevent people from going to hospitals or dying for that matter. Therefore, we want to encourage our people to take the jab. Whatever race or nation or church or religion, take the jab. It is said by the high-profile scientists in the world that this jab will prevent a super spreader, a super killing of our people, and we must take the jab. We do a serious plea on everybody that listens to us now to consider taking the jab. It is the right thing to do. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Alderman. I see the hand of Councillor Thabiseng Lichava. Good morning, ma'am. Please proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Greetings to all and observing protocol. Honorable Speaker, just wanted to, I cannot on this month of women just keep quiet. Our society, it's in great turmoil, particularly if you look at the stats, as everybody has said, the mayor and Councillor Gericka, Elderman. The question is that, what is it intervention? Because we can see what is happening, but what is the intervention that we can do, one as an individual, one as a society, and one as government? Clearly, where we are now, we can see that what we are doing, it's not helping, it's not assisting. I think where we are sitting, we need more intervention in our families, because this, I think, it starts within a family space. Most of this violence, children and women, they are being violated in their homes. Now, the family becomes a very critical place where we have to have some intervention, because where do children get their first discipline? Where do children get their first molding? It's at the homes. How is the society? Because truly said Alderman Gericka saying the social conditions of these homes, children-headed homes. Even more disturbing that we have found that even children with 10 years old are having children. So there is a fundamental problem that we need to be able to intervene in our communities with the assistance of the religious fraternity, so that we can be able to mold our families, so that there is greater responsibility that is taken. So we are urging, even with the justice system, to assist us, the social system in our country. Perhaps that's where the intervention. But at some point, we need to have a thorough discussion to be part of the agenda, to say how can we make this significant impact, to start at the root, because the root of all society, it's a family, and where we can intervene so that from there we are putting all measures, social conditions are changed, and also the moral fiber in our community, and also the responsibility, taking responsibilities as fathers, as mothers, of how we raise our children, and also taking responsibilities as fathers and also as husbands. So I think that is where we need to start. But where we are sitting now, on top of that, then you find the pandemic. So it's really our communities, we are in a turmoil. And therefore, we need to really have intervention that are significant and with an impact. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Councillor Chava. I see the hand of Alderman Piet van der Hoeven. Thank you, Alderman.
Thank you, Speaker, for that opportunity. I am not going to be long because I think everything has been said and I don't want to repeat anything. I just want to say we are excellent in celebrating, very bad in preventing. Fake news, Mr. Meyer, is a killer, a dangerous weapon in the hand of those who do not know how to use it. We cannot just allow people to use fake news to social media without education. Education, education, education. Mr. Mayor, I think that is most important. Vaccination is not just a nice to have, it's an absolute must. In course, Mr. Speaker.
Kosi Kakulu, Alderman. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Would you like to respond? Thank you.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker and colleagues. Mr. Speaker, it is pretty straightforward. We're all singing the same tune. And I agree, Mr. Speaker, with the sentiment that probably from the highest level as well, you know, when decisions are made, we must live by those decisions, and there must be consequences when people are not following regulations, etc. And I keep on thinking, and I toss and turn at times to think and to compare ourselves to Rwanda. It is mind-boggling in terms of where Rwanda were a couple of years ago compared to us, and where Rwanda is currently. And if one analyze what is happening in Rwanda, it all comes from the political decisions and the implementation of those political decisions by people, by officials, by communities, in terms of buying in when these decisions are made at a political level. And I definitely believe, you know, at our micro level, we need to show the rest of South Africa that if we make those decisions, if we buy into it as politicians, we need to take it to the ground, street by street, gate by gate, door to door. But then there must be consequences. Impunity is one of the things, because fake news is a crime. I have yet to see somebody who's been charged for distributing fake news. There are a lot of crimes, and they are committed on a daily basis. These crimes are gazetted, no impunity. But I do agree with the councillors that we now need to lead by example. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I don't see any other further hands. And thank you also for everybody that raised their concern. We all look at the news every day, and it breaks one's heart. And what even breaks one's heart even more, those that don't even report it, or that is not known, and there's no publicity. But it's you look at the figures that are being presented to us, it's horrendous. Thank you from my side. We've got a birthday councillor in our chambers today, and that really shows commitment. I mean, to celebrate your birthday in a council chamber during a council meeting, that's real and true commitment. So first of all, let me congratulate our councillor Lose on many happy returns, Tate, and God bless. Thank you. We also have, I've already said, Wamben. Wamben's birthday is tomorrow. Everybody calls him Wamben. I think we're about the same age, but I also call him now Councillor Wamben. That's perhaps his first name is Oom. But Oom, ek hoop jy verjaar lekker môre. And thank you then, Councillor Mbandezi is on the 10th of September, and we wish him well and a speedy recovery so that he can really also enjoy his birthday on the 10th of September. And then it's Councillor Justin Fry that's having his birthday on the 30th of September. The majority of councillors are birthing in August. I don't know what happened. Why August is such a favorite birthday, born month, if I might put it like that. But yeah. So that is all from our side, colleague councillors. I would just like to say that we would love to move H4 on request that I received from Alderman de Vries. because he wants to be excused earlier. So I would like to move H4. That's a report on the JDMA to the first item to be discussed under section H. That's fine with everyone. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We then move to item 9, and that is the approval of the minutes. Oh, I almost missed. You know, old age is not for sissies. And this new Christmas gift that you gave me, that I can't see my MM. There he is. Okay. But my apologies, MM. Thank you so much. Please proceed.
Thank you, Speaker. Good morning, Executive Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Councillors. I hope I am audible and colleagues. Speaker, it's just one or two things from my side. Firstly, I'd like to take from where the councillors left off to say indeed it is a serious indictment for the country that in August such heinous crimes are committed against women, as if to really rub the salt to the injured. Indeed, we are all saddened, especially those of us who have girl children. Some of live on their own in big cities. We hope that some political leadership and some interventions will come very soon to ensure that their lives are not as cheap as they appear these days. We have tried, Speaker, to take some steps this August to recognize our fellow ladies, and a lot of items in my MENCOM and hopefully today would still be presented by lady colleagues. We know it's a small gesture for us, but we believe that it reminds them that actually we are with them in the struggles that they face daily. The second thing, Speaker, relates to the pandemic that is ravaging our district. There is an item that will be presented. It's not subsiding as we would want. It's going up and down. The numbers, I am not happy with the numbers in our district. We hopefully will get out of this thing very soon. But as we all know, we'll only be happy when there are no COVID cases reported. But I think as the Western Cape, we've seen this third wave is becoming very long for the Western Cape. It's taking quite longer than the other waves to really go down. So that's why we plead with people to always engage in the necessary protocols, the non-pharmaceutical protocols that have been there, to stay at home, not travel unnecessarily, to wear your mask when in the public space, sanitize, and social distance. I think those non-pharmaceutical protocols are a no-brainer, and they've proven to really deal with the virus. Speaker, recently our numbers have gone astronomically up, and quite a few of our colleagues got infected, and it worries us greatly. To an extent, there was a time when there were above 30 active cases at the same time. Many men and women staying at home fighting the virus. We then had to make certain adjustments in our risk-adjusted strategy. And you'd have known that in the previous week, we had allowed people to work from home. But as we monitor the numbers, Speaker, we then decide to call them back. And as of yesterday, we have had in total since the beginning of the pandemic about 152 positive cases. We have had 135 recoveries. We currently have 9 active cases, and there's 0 hospitalization, which is a good sign. And as you know, unfortunately, 8 of our colleagues perished. We hope that the numbers will go down as people fight the vaccine and recover from home. We're quite pleased by those who have recovered. Some of them are with us today. As the mayor has pointed out, Speaker, we do experience serious challenges regarding the vaccination rollout. There is a lot of hesitancy. There's a lot of fear among people. They've got a lot of questions. Some of them are rooted in these fake news the councillors were talking about, and some religious interpretations that people have. But the reality of the situation is that science has proven that in countries that have significantly vaccinated, people are getting free. Their economies are beginning to work. I think Germany has reached the economic growth that was just pre-pandemic. Only not because there are any miracles, but because people have agreed to take vaccines. Yesterday, Speaker, we got very good news, which we hope could help in the vaccine skepticism. You will know that the Pfizer, the J&J, and the Moderna vaccines had been approved on an emergency basis to ensure that we save lives, and they've succeeded in doing that. But you had these people that kept on saying, but we will wait for the full approval by the FDA. And that was done with Pfizer yesterday. And we hope that should then put to bed some of the so-called scientific questions about the efficacy of the vaccines. And then people can take the vaccines knowing that actually they do work, they've been fully approved. We do take steps, Speaker, to really encourage our colleagues to take the vaccines. We have called in doctors that are able to speak to them. We already have had 2 sessions. There's a third one this coming Friday to try and answer the fears and the problems that people have regarding vaccines. All of that is being made to make sure that people do take vaccines. Sometimes our message comes across as if we are forcing people to take the vaccines, and we are not. In this country, it's still a choice for anyone to make their decision to take the vaccine or not to do so. But as we know, like all rights, decisions that we make do have consequences. In employment situation, there's legislation that obtains, such as your Occupational and Health and Safety Act, that puts certain responsibilities on the part of the employer to ensure the safety of the employees. And there's a lot of discussion in South Africa. We know that the NCCC is already engaged in discussing what can be done to ensure that people actually do take the vaccines. What we have decided is that we will continue to persuade, to engage, to ask our people to take the vaccine voluntarily. However, it's becoming clear that at some point employers have to take certain steps. I'm sure all of you have seen that already in the US, they are issuing mandatory vaccine policies. I'm told the Army and all the reserves have been told today that they are expected to take the vaccines. And so it happens in other countries, in Europe and everywhere. Our position is that it should not reach that. People must freely take the vaccine because they've been given all the necessary information, because their affairs have been addressed. But you can only do that to a certain level. Because there are those people that are here that we have a responsibility to protect. And we can only balance that against those responsibilities. So, Mr. Mayor, we are engaged in a very proactive program to encourage staff to take the vaccines. It's really unfortunate that we're fighting against a huge fake news and misinformation situation that is around us. We'll be then getting the report, Mr. Mayor and Speaker, on the actual vaccination numbers as the report will be presented. But it's also important to note that today, Speaker, it's one of the milestones in the calendar of the municipality. In the agenda today, we're presenting 2 very important reports on the annual report, which really concludes your term in terms of what we have done. We also have your annual performance report and other reports that are quite key. You would have noted that for the first time in my professional life, we have reached a stage where we have registered for a whole month, 0 deviations, which is quite important for us. I don't know if we can maintain that. I hope we can, but it's a very difficult standard we have set, but we're quite proud about that. Also excited, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Mayor, about the item regarding the provision of water to needy people in the Calitstop area. We are tabling the serious item for council to consider because, as we all know, water is life, and there are people that are really suffering. It's not only going to provide water, but it's also creating job opportunities. And as you recall, decent accommodation, because we're working with the Department of Human Settlements in the same project. So we're coming back to council to say, here's a request for a very productive and successful project that is coming for this council to be proud of. Therefore, Speaker, that's my communication, and I hope this council proceeds well. Happy birthday to Councillor Lose and other councillors that are having their birthdays today and next month. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Municipal Manager. Yes, it's very serious. I can just share with the House that last week, during this week and last week, our OHS officer, Occupational Health and Safety Officer, Mr. Craig Mostert, still a young man, he was 38, passed away due to COVID, as well as Koos Aris, hygiene official that worked for the Marshall Bay municipality for more than 30 years. It is very serious. Thank you so much, Mr. Municipal Manager. And again, from the onset, Mr. Mayor, Mr. MM, thank you so much for the agenda that you've prepared with your team. We are really privileged, and it's an honor to serve with an administration with such professional commitment and support. We really appreciate it a lot. May I then ask my advocate next to me, can I now proceed to item 9? Thank you. We then move to item 9, and that is consideration of the minutes of the council meeting that was held on the 28th of July 2021, and you find it from page 8 to page 36. I see a hand of Councillor Scarspies. Please proceed, Councillor Spies.
My apologies, Speaker. I I wanted to respond to the MM's comments.
You're
But
most welcome.
if you have moved on, then we. Oh, thank you. Speaker, I want to congratulate the administration, but I also want the colleagues in these chambers to take a moment to consider for themselves what they have accomplished. The political colleagues. It shows, in my mind, it shows the deviation report that for this month is 0 for the first time. In my mind, it shows to all of us what can be accomplished when we keep our eye on the ball. And that relates to everything, almost everything in this agenda. The Circular 88 item that we received, the One Plan or the JDMA item that we received. When we keep our eye on the ball and we pay attention to monitoring and proper oversight, we can achieve all these lofty goals. So I want to thank the administration, and particularly the MM and the Mayor, once again for what they've achieved. And going forward, I hope that we stick up to these heavy goals that we've set for ourselves.
Thank you very much, Councillor Spies. I'm still spoiled with this new Christmas gift of mine. I keep on looking at it. Thank you. Can we then move? Any comments you would like to make on the minutes of the council meeting that was held on the 28th of July? If none, can I then get a proposal and a second of?
As
that
I
we can
proposed, Elder Lady Kritzinger.
Thank you so much, Elder Lady Kritzinger.
Speaker,
Speaker, Councillor May, I seconded the proposal of Councillor Iona Kritzinger.
Thank you so much, Councillor May. And with that goes the congratulations to our secretariat for the quality of the minutes that you produced under the new normal. Not easy. And my thanks to all of you. Trix and everybody else. Can we give them a hand as well, please? I don't think it happens often in any municipality where you find minutes and there are no corrections to be made. Excellent work. Thank you so much for that. Can we then move to item 10? That is the minutes of the mayoral committee. That was held on the 22nd of June, pages 37 to page 56. Can we take note of those minutes?
Yes,
Just
Speaker,
before
Councillor Lamborghini, we take note of this minutes. Speaker, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lamborghini. Seconder, just take note of it.
Okay, Speaker, second.
Thank you so much, Councillor Wamben van Wyk. Can we then move to the standing items? That is the first one, is at 11.1. That is the report on the appointments and the service exits and the labor relations information for July 2021. And it's from page 57 to page 65. Any comment? Any input? There's a, is it other lady, JC? Thank you. Good morning, other lady.
Good day, Speaker. Speaker, am I audible?
You've got a, you're very audible. Thank you. It's good to hear your voice again. Please proceed, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I just want to welcome the report and thank the administration by taking into consideration things that we usually raised about these items and made sure that they are corrected. Keep it up, guys, doing a good job. About the contract appointments, I always said contract is a temporal appointment, but it can make a difference to their families. I thank you, Speaker.
Thank you so much. And there were this handjies wat bid that says thank you to that. Thank you. Can I then any further input on this matter?
Speaker, I want to propose that we adopt, that we note the report, and once again, it's good to see the difference we make in the lives of unemployed people in the Garden Route. And I want to congratulate everybody regarding that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Elder Lady Kritzinger. Can we then move to the next item? That is reports from our executive mayor. That is a 2022-2023 IDP budget and PMS time schedule, pages 66 to page 90. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and colleagues. Once again, in terms of the law, this is a category which I need to lead and which I'm responsible for. And today I do no difference, Mr. Speaker, but again, just to echo what the colleagues are saying, with the limited manpower and resources, the officials are indeed doing a good job. So I would hereby table this for adoption by council. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Any input or comment on this matter? No. There you've got it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Can we get a seconder for the adoption here?
Speaker, yes, Speaker, Councillor Lamborghini again. I would like to second the proposal making by the executive mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lamborghini. Can we then move to the next item? That is it's B2. The rollover adjustment budget 2021-2022, medium-term revenue and expenditure framework, pages 91 to page 125. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Once again, thank you, Mr. Speaker. And as we would all know through experience, some of these incidences, Mr. Speaker, are unavoidable. Some are good news in terms of multiple year events, etc. And it is not easy for even the guys in finance to deal with these kind of matters. But as I was saying, it is unavoidable. And I would therefore want to table this for adoption again by council. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Any input or comment on this matter? Don't see any hands. Can I then
Yes,
get a,
Speaker.
thank you, Councillor Majid.
Speaker, yes, we have also dealt with this item yesterday in the Budget Steercom meeting, and we also, as a Budget Steercom, we accepted this report and recommend this to council as well. So therefore, I support the Executive Mayor. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor Majid. And thank you, although you're not feeling very well, and I can hear it in your voice that you still attend to this council meeting. It's highly appreciated. Thank you so much for that. Councillors, colleagues, we are now moving to B3. That was sent out as an addendum. Can we deal with B3? B3, that's an unaudited annual report for 2020 to 2021 financial year. Are we all together, colleagues?
Yes,
Yes, we
Speaker,
are,
I would
Mr.
like
Speaker.
to.
Thank you, Councillor Majid. Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Speaker, once again, wherever there are possibilities of finances and money and budgets that are included in certain reports like this one, it is one of my responsibilities in terms of making sure how our CFO and the MM and everybody else, how they dealing with, as I was saying earlier on, the limited resources. And again, in this annual report, it will never, any annual report, Mr. Speaker and colleagues, of any municipality or of any institution would never be perfect. And there will always be some matters of concern, and there will always be leeway and space for improvements. And there's no difference in this one either. But I do see us taking leaps since 2016 up to today. So I would then again also like council to consider this and to make it public, and we deal with the regulations that guides us in terms of how to deal with annual reports. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Can I just get confirmation of a seconder? Councillor Majid, I think you wanted to seek to do that.
Yes, Speaker, that was my idea. I want to support the mayor in this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Majid. I almost wanted to ask if we were all in the chambers, let's have a standing ovation for that administration of our MM. Can we do that? Yeah. Let's tell our bodies we are alive. Let's do that. Thank you, MM. Thank you. I'm not undressing, I'm dressing. Thank you, colleagues. Can we then move to, again, the addendum, C1. That is a report on the draft annual performance report 2020 to 2021. Can we then consider that? Any input or comment on this matter? I don't see our performance manager in it. Thank you,
Speaker,
MM.
just a second. It's page 324. Okay.
Fine. I see Councillor Spies' hand is up, and I also see that our municipal manager would like to make a comment. Thank you.
Do I go first?
Please proceed, MM.
Thank you, Speaker. The report in front of council is the draft APR for the annual performance report, which gives the feedback in terms of what this council has achieved organizational and individual in terms of the predetermined objectives that we had set out ourselves. You can see it's still in draft because there is final information that's still to be included. It will be audited by the Auditor General, and then when we present the final annual report, it will be complete. And ordinarily, we have to submit it as is, but key information that the AG audits is actually completed. Last year, in terms of our audit, we did get, as part of our report, a clean audit for this, and we see no reason why there should be any regression. I think as the head of administration and accounting office, I'm quite proud to be presenting such a report to council, even for noting, and quite happy to give it to the Auditor General to audit and conclude whatever they conclude. And I'm sure, Speaker, there will be no deviation from previous year's report. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Municipal Manager. Please proceed, Councillor Spies.
Speaker, I'm waiting for Councillor van der Hoeven. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you for that. Please, Alderman van der Hoeven, my apologies. Please
Thank you,
proceed.
Speaker, for the opportunity. I just want to say from our side, from the ANC side, we will reserve our reactions because it's too good to be true. If we check at the 50%, 54% met and whatever, and only 3% not met, whatever. So we will wait for the audited statements and see what the final result is. But seemingly, or not seemingly, surely this municipality administratively is in good hands. We just need to change the politics of it. But administratively, very good hands.
In
Thank
your
you,
dreams.
Thank you. I think we are all, what makes this institution so great is because of all the hands working together. So we don't have to change hands. The hands that we've got are very good. We're working together as all hands. Thank you. Thank you, colleagues. Can we move on? We are then on D1, back to the Councillor Spies. Thank you, Councillor Spies.
Thank you, Speaker. I would just like basically to remind Alderman van der Hoeven that they designed this democracy so that the administration's work is recognized to politicians. So you can't separate the two. When the administration is doing well, it's the government that's in charge that is credited with that performance. And so hopefully it lives on for long. But I just like to make sure that Council notes the draft annual performance report for 2020 and 2021. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Spies.
Councillor Speaker, can I please just respond to what Councillor Spies has just said?
No, Speaker, rules of order, rules of order.
Very important for me to raise this point, Speaker. Then on a point of order, I'm raising this point, Speaker. The reason why the district municipality is good is because there's opposition who is fulfilling their proper oversight role and make sure that everything runs smooth. And when they see things, something is out of order, they raise it. fortunately for the administration, the last few months, almost a year, things are running very smooth. Yeah, that's where I want to raise my case.
I must say the ANC is very good at reaching for straws, Speaker.
When I'm listening to you, it reminds me.
Amanda, Chief Whip.
What, what I like is that when we raise those issues, I always remind myself of the song Ebony and Ivory. I think it was John Lennon that sang it. Ebony and Ivory working in harmony. It's like a piano, and you cannot take the white notes out or the black notes. We're not talking about color here, but yeah, let's talk about the color of the t-shirt. Thank you.
Sorry, Speaker, we don't hear anything.
I'm just consulting here with my good advocate on my left-hand side. My apologies. Thank you. Now I've learned that let's move rather to H4 because of the fact that Alderman de Vries wants to be excused. Can we then deal with H4, please? Can I then invite any comment or input on the joint district and metro implementation plan? It's page 392 to page 495. Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I am aware, and this has been coming since day one, or since the president have launched the district development model. And we, from a political point of view, then also responded in terms of saying the district development model is not new to the Western Cape. It is something that we have been doing prior to the announcement of the president, the DDM, and what we were dealing with or operating within was the JDMA. And again, this thing is still hovering above our heads, but I can safely say, Mr. Speaker and councillors, is that this thing of the JDMA and the DDM has been discussed at the highest level, at national level, between our premier. I was part of one of these engagements in Pretoria, but I know that there's been a couple of these engagements since I also attended one in Pretoria. And the bottom line, colleagues, is that national government have acknowledged the terminology JDMA. And the only difference here is that some politicians are still challenging this, and I think it's a futile exercise. The principles are the same. The implementation is obviously different, as all councillors would allude from time to time. It depends on who is the opposition and who is the driving force, the ruling party, because regardless of a definition, if council don't implement it, it can have the most beautiful definition. It's not going to work, and it's not working in other provinces. And one of the bones of contention here is that the district development model have been launched there are 3 pilot projects. And I can tell you guys right now, those pilot projects are having their own challenges because of the political approach towards it. And we are saying that bring it on, JDMA, whatever, we will do it. And the thing is here, Mr. Speaker, that I want to emphasize here is the fact that the other difference here, and we need to keep our eyes on the ball, and we're making it very difficult for our administration, is that the debate is in a political arena, but administratively, there are regulations, there are circulars, there are notices where the municipal manager and his staff need to react and need to implement. Government is not waiting for us on whether we adopt whatever name we're adopting. The one plan circulars are in circulation, and we need to be compliant, and we will be compliant. If there's any fight between who's in the zoo, I will take the flag at a political level. But the one plan must be and will be implemented. Forget about this definition and whatever. I am part of those who've been operating within the JDMA, and I'm saying whether it is DDM, whether it's JDM, but we will implement the one plan frameworks. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Executive Mayor. Can I get any further input or comment? Thank you, MM.
Thank you, Speaker. I think it's just important, just as administration, to put everybody at ease that if there were any issues about terminology and interpretations, as the mayor has said, as a government, that is in terms of the administration from provincial government led by the HOD for local government, Mr. Paulse, and from national led by the DG for cooperative governance. Those matters have been laid to bed. We are very clear on what the DDM is and what the JDM is, and what is it that we must submit. And as a province, we are moving in tandem. The officials from COGTA were part of the process nationally, provincially, and all the local municipalities. So I think we have moved beyond those discussions as the administration. And I think even those original misconceptions that maybe had appeared up to the stage where we are have been cleared. And we are proud to submit to council this item so that we can be able to submit it to the COGTA. I must say that the local municipalities have played a big role, Mr. Mayor and the Speaker, in the actual writing of the document. The way people that made submissions, I remember that sometime people were even arguing about the actual English, the text that must be in the document among the municipal employees throughout the district, which was good. And we corrected whatever needed to be corrected. And we're moving in tandem. It has gone for public comments, and we are here today, Speaker. Very happy to present it to yourselves for approval. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Municipal Manager. Can we please give Alderman de Vries then an opportunity to make a comment? Thank you, Alderman de Vries. My apologies if you had to wait a while. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. I hope you can hear me clearly. I might be interrupted by a gentleman here who don't ask to talk. He will make some announcement. I will just pause when there's an announcement. Can I continue?
Mr. Speaker, on a point of order.
Please proceed, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we are used to see Councillor de Vries. Can he please switch on his video? We got used to his trend.
Thank you, Mayor.
There he is.
I'd like to see that new look.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, let me just make a general comment before I make a comment specific that I was asked to talk on by the Garden Route Skills Maker Forum. I think that I must commend, and we must commend the executive mayor for the stance that is taken on the issue around the one plan, and that this administration is committed to implement the plan and will comply with as the regulation, not the regulations, the framework by COCTA, and to comply with that and the timeframes. And I think that whether we call it a JDM and over DDM, I think that as the MMF said that we are past that debate. I think that the in a way have answered one of my general comments that or questions that I had was the participation from our B municipalities, because past experience have shown that our B municipalities not always participate in our processes. So I'm glad to hear that they have actually participated very effectively in this process. Speaker, let me then go to there's a section on page 421. And there's a reason why we would like to propose this amendment after discussions with the project coordinator of the Garden Route Skills Maker Forum. Recently, the local government, I just want to give context, have put the advert for a discretionary window for companies, NGOs, and municipalities to apply for funding. And within that advert, they put that one of the requirements for successful consideration was that it must be your project or the skills that you want to apply for must be within the district plan. And they made reference to the one plan. So on page 421, in that column, we want to change at the bottom the proposed council to consider the following. To replace that section to read that to develop skills required for the economic reconstruction and recovery plan and the 7 economic priorities areas as contained in the growth and development strategy and within the skills maker concept document. Those 7 economic priorities, Speaker, is also contained in that document on page 440. And the reason for that is so if there's application for funding, a SETA can actually go and look at in terms of, but this is within the plan of the Garden Route District Municipality. The second change is around, there's a reference to a steering committee. Now we want that to replace to say that the Garden Route Skills Maker internal task team and the forum have been established and is functional, and that the project coordinator have been appointed. We would like that to be included. And then the last one is on page 457. The Garden Route is, we want the Garden Route District Municipality to be included as one of the responsible actors. Those are the 2 changes that we would like the council to consider from the skills maker side. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was just, my apologies. I was trying to get it quickly on my tablet as well. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I want to say thank you to Alderman De Vries. One is never too old to learn. And those are no-brainer amendments. It is indeed the route to go. And he just reminded me the fact that at times we assist in bursaries, we create jobs, we advertise, we do all sorts of things. And I think the direction and with these amendments made by Alderman De Vries, it's a learning curve in terms of we need to know what makes the economy tick. And what makes the economy tick are partnerships between local government, the private sector, the TVET colleges, the universities, etc., etc. And if we hear from them what skills and what manpower they short of, those are the directions we need to take. And these amendments makes us very flexible to do exactly that. I hereby support those amendments. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further input in our comment? Mr. Mayor, just clarity from my side. My apologies if I ask it from the chair. We know that the Bs will also have to endorse, or we endorse it. And it's obvious that it will be sent to them for their comment and endorsement.
You're 100% correct, Mr. Speaker. You've had your Kellogg's this morning.
I had some trouble with my car, so I'm a bit distracted. But thank you so much. Thank you that you've got it, colleagues. It's unanimous. We're all in support of this. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for your leadership, and for wherever you are, that you also promote what we are doing, and what we further intend to do. Thank you. We are back to basics. D1. We are now, colleagues, am I correct in saying, Secretariat? We are now on D1. That's the cost containment reporting. You just call the heading just calls a reporting on the Q4 of 2020-21, pages 126 to page 129. Is the item, colleagues? Can I have some input or comment on this matter? Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I just want to be the devil's advocate here. The cost containment regulations, have those regulations be repealed? Because what I'm seeing, which I agree from day one, there should never be cost containment regulations when it comes to driving the economy and attracting tourists, etc. But I'm just, when I see Kaiser Chiefs playing and local government is supporting them, and have those regulations been repealed? But otherwise, congratulations to myself for a change, because nobody, they always say the MM this and the MM that. Congratulations to myself. Thank you.
Congratulations, Honorable Mayor.
Thank you so much. Congratulations, Executive Mayor Mawawa. Thank you, MM.
Speaker, to the mayor, the regulations are still enforceable, Mr. Mayor. How Johannesburg and Mandela Metro sponsor football teams, it boggles our mind. That says some animals are more equal than others. And congratulations, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, MM.
Thank you, Alderman van der Woofen.
Speaker, I just wanted to say that 1.1, more than 1 million is quite a saving. And I think we must continue with the cost containment as far as possible, because we don't need to spend money on unnecessary expenses. Just
Thank you, Alderman. I see a nod from our Executive Mayor in the chambers. Thank you, colleagues. Can we then move on? There's a hand. It's a new hand. It's not an old hand. It's Councillor Spies's hand. Thank you, Councillor Spies.
No, sorry, Speaker. Councillor Alderman van der Woofen just messed with my proposal. I was going to suggest that we go to Joburg and visit Kaizer Chiefs for a best practice to find out how Gauteng is doing this stuff. But if Councillor van der Hoeven doesn't want to spend money on travel, then that's out.
Can we do it with Orlando Pirates and not Kaizer Chiefs, please?
Okay, Speaker, just once off.
Thank you. Pakashushu. Thank you. Can we then move to the D3? D2, they almost look the same to me. D2, amendment of the annual deviation report. Amendment 2. The annual deviation report is implementation of the supply chain management policy for the period 1st of July to 30th of June 2021. You find it on pages 130 to 134. Any input or comment on this matter? I don't see any old hand or any new hand or young hand. Can we then get a proposal or seconder for this item, please? D2.
Yes, Speaker, if I may, Speaker,
Thank you, Councillor Majin.
I want to propose that we accept this item as is, Speaker. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Majin. Seconder for that item.
Thank you, Speaker. I will second Councillor Lambachi proposal.
Thank you, Councillor Lose. Thank you, colleagues. Can we then move to D3? That's a deviation report, implementation of the supply chain management policy for the period 1st of July 2021 to 31st of July 2021, pages 135 to page 139. Any input or comment?
Yes, Speaker, if I may.
Thank you, Councillor Majin.
Speaker, before I move that we accept this report, I think this report speaks for itself. And also there were some comments made by the MM and others with regards to the zero expenditure on deviations for this month. So therefore, I move that we accept this report. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Majin. Can I get a seconder then for this report?
I'll second.
Was that Elder Lady Kurtzinger?
Yes, Speaker.
Thank you, Elder Lady Kurtzinger. Thank you, colleagues. We then move to section E. E1 is report on the planned activities for Women's Month 2021, pages 140 to page 161. I was so tempted, I can just share with the House that I was so tempted when I read Saga. I think it was, I don't know what they called it, but it was not a webinar. It was, and then they made a final statement after they had the meeting. And I know that Councillor Chaba was present. I read the minutes. Councillor Chaba was present. Councillor Struber was present. And I was very tempted to ask also Elder Lady Jolene Wolmerans to read that all the resolutions made by our beautiful ladies during that summit. But I leave it. I don't want to steal the fire from anyone on this report on the planned activities for Women's Month 2021. Yes. Anyway, would you like anybody to further enhance and elaborate on this report from the ladies' side? I see Councillor Ntabiseng, Chaba would also like to come in, and Elder Lady Kurtzinger. And I then give an opportunity to Councillor Lichaba and then Elder Lady Kurtzinger in that order. Is that fine?
Thank you, Speaker. I think, Speaker, it's fair that first we get an elaboration on this first, and then we can add our input.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. He agrees. The Mayor agrees.
Yes, I agree, Mr. Speaker, if there are any inputs, but I just want to throw something into the kitty. We've alluded to all the commemorations. We have Youth Day, we have Women's Month, we have Youth Month, etc., etc. And I might be mistaken here, or I might be called into order. I don't know, Mr. Speaker, on whether when it's Women's Month, on whether we must leave it to the women to run their programs and just do their thing, or because of we know what is happening, you know, with women and children, etc. You know, did we not reach the point where, regardless of whether it's Women's Month or summits or whatever, we as men should also be there? The example I want to make is that, do you need women to deal with women issues only? Or do we need men to deal with men issues only? Or do we need a whole of society approach? But I think we're still stuck in the past, where even if you go to a conference, if it's a men's conference, it's only men. You know, but we do need help from women too. You know, our mothers know us best. Our stickies knows us best. You know, stikkie is also a term for being married. I'm just showing my Afrikaans knowledge here. But Mr. Speaker, whilst we're deliberating on this, is that maybe when we look at these programs, Councillor Lichaba and I know Councillor Strubel as well, being part of the Women's Commission, you know, maybe we must change tact, you know, so that we can, I don't know whether, is it because there might be some gossips or closed sessions where men are not needed? I don't know, but I do think everybody should be all hands on deck. The country is in a mess. Thank you.
Thank you. I see, I see our good executive manager, Matrix Olshausen.
Thank you for the opportunity, Speaker. I think as management team, we would like to demonstrate to Council that we are taking women's issues seriously, and that by you know, implementing all the programs as listed on this report, we really take an extra effort to ensure that women issues do get the necessary attention. We also had a very good initiative from the municipal manager for Women's Month, and he allowed for a month for power to be shared in the ManCom. I'm saying that on a lighter note, for a woman to chair the ManCom meeting, the management meeting. And it was quite interesting that only ladies within the relevant departments were allowed to provide feedback. Now and then we allowed a man, but generally it was just women providing feedback. And I think the overall response to that was very positive, and that women wants to become part of management decisions. They want to become part, you know, of management per se. So it was a very interesting exercise, and we hope that we can, you know, extend that invitation from the MM to, from time to time, to take charge, if I can put it that way, of the municipality and see what we as women can do. So we want to thank the municipal manager for that. But then also, as part of the initiatives, it is listed in the report, we are partnering currently with the the Commission on Gender Equality to assist us, and then also with our provincial counterparts to give some more, you know, strength to our initiatives. And we are repeating some of our workshops. I think our chairperson of the Corporate Services Portfolio Committee will also you know, talk on the Women in Leadership seminar that Salga is you know, inviting us to join, and that will be over 3 days, starting actually tomorrow. So she will elaborate on that. But Chairperson and Speaker, I think I've said enough. I would like the other, ladies and women to also respond. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Holzhausen. I must brag a bit. We had a 3-hour session, I think. We started at 10 and I think we closed at 12:30, almost 1 o'clock at Mossel Bay for the Mossel Bay councillors. So we had a Mossel Bay, a webinar by by the Western Cape Province and the Equality or Equality Committee or Commission. And it was mentioned that I asked the question because I always wear 2 hats. Although I was a Mossel Bay councillor at that webinar, I asked questions in regards to Garden Route. And the response was that we can be very proud of what Garden Route has already done. And what you, Ms. Holzhausen, I almost want to call you Trix, has done with the team, everyone. And I felt so proud that I could have asked the question and I could get confirmation. Not that I don't trust the administration. I wanted to assist to say, but there are lessons to be learned. I'm not saying anyone is behind, but good practices can always be shared. And when you get stuck in the implementation of whatever development of policies or fora or whatever the case may be, there are people that really perform extremely well. And I salute you for that. Thank you, Elder Lady Kitzinger.
Yes, Speaker, thank you very much for that. I need to make a comment on what you said. Yes, that was the gender mainstreaming workshop that you had in Mossel Bay, which Garden Route is the leading municipality in the Western Cape regarding that, and it is something to be very proud of. I was just shocked to see that one of your female councillors from the ACDP basically complained to the newspaper and said, that was a waste of money. So I can't understand how can any woman say that gender mainstreaming workshops and how to equip women and how to empower women is a waste of money. And then as far as the mayor is concerned, I would just like to say, Mayor, thank you very much for that. We can't go without you men, but I think that, it's vice versa. You can't go without us. So it's the same both ways, whatever. I would like to comment on the department as far as this month is concerned for Women's Month, and what in this item, the programs that they've done and what they've done as far as women are concerned, and our female employees, and the workshops that were held and everything. It's actually remarkable, and it's so heartwarming to see that the role that women play in the organization is a very serious role, and it's part of the succession of this municipality. So I would really like to applaud them. And then as far as the Women's Salga Women's Commission is concerned, there is an invite. I think the invite is on, it was printed in this item on page 150 regarding the additional another workshop to be held by the Women's Salga Women's Commission and national and local government Women's Leadership Development Masterclass series. That's from 25 to 27th of August. This masterclass series is part of the Salga Women's Commission and local government leadership development program aimed at empowering and equipping the women councillors and managers at local government level with the requisite skills and competencies for the improvement of society, and to play a significant role in the attainment of the local government development imperatives as enshrined in the Constitution. The invitation is basically in this item. So I want to ask all our female councillors and also our female staff to please enroll for this, because I think it would really be an something that can give us more knowledge as to far as the place of women in our societies. So I want to say that we must please accept this report and then also that we take business serious as far as women are concerned. And thank you for making this month special to everybody, to all our women in the organization. It's much appreciated, and we really want to commend you on that. Thank you, Chair. I want to propose that we accept this report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Elder Lady Kretzinger. Can I give an opportunity also to Councillor Chaba then to make a comment? Thank you, Councillor Chaba.
Thank you, Speaker. All that we said, I just wanted to answer the Honorable Mayor, is to say these programs are there for a reason, that to empower women, not just from a space of checking boxes, but these programs are there to empower in terms of the emotional, psychological, understanding that in the prior time, women to be in leadership position, it was not easy. It's still not easy, because it's to find our voice. We are gathering for finding our voice, for empowering our voice, and also for looking at ways we can be able, in terms of challenges, what are the challenges that we face as women, and coming from a woman's space, so that we can understand, and then from there. But we want to be supported in terms of where there is areas that there are seen that are areas of gaps, that we are being supported in each and everything, perhaps even attending this workshop. It is a good thing. But most importantly, I would like, in terms of this report, what is very crucial for our women, particularly in the pandemic, is the mental state awareness. We welcome very much that program, and I wish that this program can also, go out for our communities, because in this time, counseling is very needed for our people. How we are going through as a country, as all the violence and everything, and counseling becomes very important, and especially also in the workplace. So we welcome these programs, and we ask all, including men, if they can, to join into this, so that we can learn more about the female and also the male, to understand us better, so that in our spaces of organization where we get together, we understand and we work in a way that we empower one another, instead of being to say the woman now is empowered and the men are being diminished, so that we can find ourselves and to have a synergy. I therefore support this report. Thank you.
Thank you. We've got in a proposal in a seconder. I would just like to share with us, my other colleagues, in my culture, or the culture in which I grew up, absolutely, my mother played the major, although my father was a school principal, my mother played a major role in the family. But they taught us as young men, don't try to understand women, just love them. Moenie hulle probeer verstaan nie, wees net lief vir hulle. So I think we just love you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Speaker, does that mean I need to create a DM account?
No, you're fine. I think it's also good that the ladies understand men a bit better. We don't want to be negative or critical at times. Sometimes it's just in your nature to make a remark which could be hurtful and which could dent your self-image, but it's never meant to happen. Thank you. Can we then move on? That's a progress report on the implementation of the Garden Route Skills Maker. Salute. Page 162 to page 181. Can I get any comments or input on this matter, please, for this item? Thank you, Alderman de Vries. Are you still with us, Alderman de Vries?
Yes, thank you, Speaker. I will leave you around 1 o'clock. Speaker, that is, as indicated, just a progress report. As I indicated earlier, that the Skills Mega Forum now it's active. We have met twice, and also the internal task team led by Ms. Holhoughton is meeting on a regular basis. So we would like Council to take note of the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman de Vries. Any input or comment on this report?
Chair, yes, I would just like to bring your attention to page 169 of this report. They are quite interesting programs and the way forward regarding the Skills Mecca meetings and programs. So it is quite interesting, and we should really be proud of ourselves as to being the leader in the industry regarding this. So I would also like to propose that we accept this report. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, colleagues. Thanks again for the hard work that's been put into that project as well. The next item is then F1. It's an allocation of a 3-hectare portion of farm 419, Mossel Bay, for a waste tire recycling facility for a period of 10 years. It's page 182 to page 236. Any input or comment? Thank you, Mr. Meyer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm in favor of this item, but because we're dealing with the same property, I'm going to raise some of my concerns or just alert council in terms of the thinking at the moment, but it will reach a stage where the municipal manager, the CFO, the project teams, and everybody who are involved with the projects will bring it back to council. As I'm saying, Mr. Speaker, I support this, but just to remind councillors that we are talking here about a 200-hectare open space, and we all know that the regional landfill site will come onto that space. Council would also remember that we've approved a lot of other potential activities on that site, and the council would again recall that COVID then hit our shores, and because of COVID, businesses then started to feel the pinch or to delay some of the activities. But Mr. Speaker, I truly believe that we have now reached a stage, and we've seen it in some parts of the country, that businesses can start making their moves now. So I'm just saying, Mr. Speaker, that I did have the discussion with the MM, the approved leases, other leases on that property. CFO, you and the MM must now look into the other parties coming to the party. I do believe that we've waited long enough. We've waited long enough, and please follow up on them and see what is their appetite. Bring it to council so that we can make alternative decisions. We cannot sit for 3 years on potential economic spinners, Advocate Nadima. You know, so please check on those other companies. And if they're still in pain, they must tell us, you know, that they can't do it anymore. Give it back to us, but follow all the procedures so that we can look for other potential investors. We were supposed to be up and running as in yesterday on that property. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Meyer. Alderman van der Werven, please proceed.
I actually am for almost for a long time, yeah, for the first time in agreement with the mayor. I just wanted to add that reference was made earlier by the mayor regarding Rwanda. Now, if you go to them and you read about them, you see that they are in a huge advanced state as far as renewable energy is concerned. This is a further opportunity to create opportunities for renewable energy, and we must invest in that. And I think from our side, we want to applaud the MM for the footwork that he's doing in this regard, and not the, listen me out, not the DA, the MM. Congratulations, MM, for that.
Alderman Gericke, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. You will notice that I don't talk a lot in this meeting because our term has expired on the 3rd of August already as councillors. So I'm sitting hands folded listening to all those that didn't work throughout the term. raising their voices now. But I agree with the mayor, and we want to ask to encourage. The reason why I'm talking on this item is because it served in our term, also in 2019 in this council. And what the mayor has just said, I am in full support to encourage other people or new role players to come on board. If these other people that have land allocated to them cannot come up with some economic activity, we must revisit this, Mr. Speaker, to the municipal manager and encourage public-private partnerships from other people to also have some benefit in the resources of our region, i.e. land and so on. So yes, we are waiting on the judgment of the Constitutional Court to see. I have a suspicion that the elections will proceed 27 October. It may be too late, but for the little time that we have, let us do the best to our disposal. Thank you very much. Yes, Mr. MM, the legal arguments proposed by Freedom Under Law will inevitably bring the election forward in terms of my layman understanding. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Gericke. I think we've got a proposal and a supporter, more than one. I also saw that Germany is also proceeding with their elections. But let me not go there. Can we get confirmation? There was a proposal and a seconder with the comments being made.
Thank you, Speaker. I would propose it.
Thank you, Councillor Lose.
Speaker, I will second.
Thank you, Elder Lady Reiters. Good morning, Deputy Executive Mayor.
Morning, Speaker.
Thank you, colleagues. Can we then move to F2? That's an update on the transfer of property from George Municipality to the Garneroo District Municipality. Pages 237 to page 243. Any comment or input on this matter? No hands.
Speaker.
Thank you, Alderman Gericke.
Sorry, I'm struggling with my hands here. Can I propose this item, please? It is a great step. Thank you to the municipal manager and the political office bearers. It is assisting us a great deal. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Speaker. I will second, Councillor.
Thank you, Alderman Gericke.
I don't want the DA to second me. Is there no ANC councillor that can?
It's one of your colleagues, Councillor Gericke. Thank you. Can we then move to F3?
I'm joking.
Foxtrot 3. Update report on the actions taken by the District COVID-19 Command Council to address the COVID-19 pandemic. Page 244 to page 250. Do we have our acting HR manager? Does he want to put on his other hat? Is that, would he like to make a presentation, Trix? I'm sorry, I'm asking you now. Oh,
Yes.
There's another beautiful lady in this house. I saw her this morning and I just love your hair. I wish I had such a hair. But thank you. Would you like to proceed, ma'am? Thank you.
Good afternoon,
Can you
everyone.
speak up a bit, please?
Can everyone hear me now?
Speaker,
Yes,
can we,
thank
if the person
Good
is in
afternoon,
the,
everyone. My name is Leanne Jube. As you all know, that I am the appointed disaster management officer for the Garden Route District Municipality, covering the Nice and Pitola municipalities. Just quickly, I am representing Mr. Gerard Otto, so I would just be giving a slight overview of what's currently happening with regards to COVID-19 and the status of COVID-19 within our area. Just briefly looking at, you can come to the third slide. Giving an overview of what's currently happening within the whole of the country. Just to note that we are currently sitting at 163,023 active cases within the country. Looking at the positive cases is just over 2 million, and recovered also just over 2 million. And then just looking at the deaths currently for the country is 79,584. Just to note that new cases over the last 24 hours, which was yesterday, the date that I received this information was for the 23rd, as it is updated every day. So it is a little bit outdated, but it still gives you an overview in terms of what's currently happening. So the new cases in the last 24 hours was 1,677. That is just new cases over a 24-hour period. Looking at the, and then just for the next slide. This is just giving you a comparison from the first, the second, and third wave of the COVID-19 infections. Looking at just basically looking at the Garden Route specifically, the three municipalities that were of high concern for us during these three waves was definitely George, which is the blue, Knysna, which is the red, and Mossel Bay, which is the green. And then Oudtshoorn also had a few spikes here and there. What I can definitely tell you guys from the pattern that we've seen over these three waves is that with each wave, it was definitely higher than the previous one, and it hit us quite harder each time. If I could just looking at the first wave, we firstly experienced it in July 2020 until August 2020. The second wave we experienced during December to January 2020. And then the third wave we started experiencing from actually July 2020 until now. Looking at the pattern, with the first and second wave, we reached our peak, and then within a week or two, we hit out, it went down, and then we hit our plateau. But with the third wave, it is quite different. As you can definitely see, there are a few spikes here and there, while still climbing with the numbers. As you can definitely see, we reached our peak on the 10th of August, and then we had a slight decrease in new cases. However, it is still spiking. So that definitely gives you an overview of what's currently happening with COVID-19 and just the status of it. And it is definitely different to what we've experienced with the first and the second wave. And that is quite prominent with the next slide, with the next graph. As you guys can see, there's definitely a steep, we had our first steep incline during the month of June, 14th of June, actually to be precise. And then we have been climbing all together up until August 10th, which we reached our peak, and then we went up and down the whole time. And then just going to the next slide. This is just giving us an overview or comparison of the first, the second, and the third wave of COVID-19 infections, and then obviously compared to the deaths. So as you can see there, the cases have risen quite highly. However, the deaths are also rising, not as high as obviously the infections, because the recovery rate is quite high, but the deaths have been climbing, and they are still climbing. The next slide, thank you. So this is just giving you an overview of what our current statistics are looking like within the Garden Route District Municipality. This is obviously dated for the 23rd of August. We did receive our updated list, and I will give it to you guys once I've gone over this, the 23rd of August. So as you can see, the Garden Route, total cases are sitting on 59,678. Total cases whereby 5,097 by active, recovered 52,471. And then deaths, unfortunately, we're sitting on 2,110. Active cases per 100,000 population. This gives you the rate of what the spread is currently. It is 823 active cases per 100,000 population. If I could just give to you guys the updated statistics that we received for the 24th of August, which is today, it is currently stipulating that for the district, we're currently sitting at 59,843 total cases, whereby active cases are 5,253, and then recovered 52,482. And then deaths, we definitely also is at 2,108. That obviously differed because some of the things have been removed with the statistics and the modeling of the systems that we are currently using. If you could definitely see from our quarantine and isolation sites, we have 2, which is Petro SA, and then obviously the Gateway Lodge. With our current statistics, it indicates that in quarantine at Petro SA 6, and then in isolation 77, and then from the Gateway Lodge it's 1, and then in isolation 5. If you could just go to the next slide, the Garden Route District current position. Just back. There at slide 8. Hey. It's slide 8, please. There we go. Thank you so much. So just briefly a summary of what's being said there. We hit off the third wave's peak on the 10th of August with 6,390 cases. We only dropped below 5,000 active cases for a threshold of 2 days. On that, those days were on the 19th and the 20th of August. And the number for that was at 4,803, and then 4,900 cases respectively. However, as you've seen listed, as I've listed previously, that we definitely have gone up again to reaching 5,000 again. So that is where the spike comes in, as I've mentioned before, with the graphs. So the total numbers of positive patients for the district on the 23rd of August was 59,678, where one week ago it was 56,618, and that also has changed. So all sub-districts had a very large percentage increase. However, I want to note that Kanaland and Pito has seen the biggest percentage increase so far during this period. New cases are widely spread with many household clusters. And then there are now 823 active cases per 100,000 population. And then looking back a week ago, it was 837, which basically just means there hasn't really been a change. However, we're still receiving those jumps, high spikes. Eseko has the highest rate, and then which second is Mossel Bay, and then closely behind is Oudtshoorn. And then there are now a total of 2,110 deaths, and this is regretfully an increase of the 351 since the previous report that Ms. Otto gave to you, and that was in July. So this weekend, we witnessed a total of 21 COVID-related deaths in George, with the peak at 17 over 24-hour period. And then the next slide, the Herald Hospital. No, go back, sorry. There we go. So the George Regional Hospital remains under pressure. On Monday, the 23rd August 2021, there were 62 COVID positive patients in the hospital, of whom 21 were on critical care, with 13 patients in 2 wards at Jericho May, which is a step-down facility for George Hospital. all district hospitals are very busy, especially the Oudtshoorn Hospital. The private hospitals in Mossel Bay, George, and Oudtshoorn are also under severe pressure. And then the supply of oxygen at the hospitals is still sufficient. So all sub-districts have de-escalated their non-essential services to cope with the increased load at PHC facilities and hospitals. And that PHC stands for public hospitals. So this just gives you an indication that the different indicators, and currently the Department of Health is currently sitting at the 4th red block, which indicates that they are quite under pressure with their capacity. The next slide, thank you. So the current position at the Q&I sites, as I've indicated before, it has been updated. It is 6 at Petro SA, and then 1 at Gateway Lodge for quarantine and isolation is 77, and then at Gateway Lodge it's 5. So the Red Dot transport system is still functional with this, and they're still supporting the vaccine programs for the selected facilities as well. Provincial vaccine update so far, we have activated all 3 phases, which also means that the over 18s and going up until 60, 70 and so forth are eligible to register and get vaccinated. So, and that has been implemented already. From the provincial position, at this point in time, the registrations, over 1.3 million people have registered and over 1.5 million people have been vaccinated. So that just gives you an overview of where we are sitting. And this information was dated for the 26th of July, 2021. No, sorry, that's wrong, sorry. And then looking at the Garden Route District current position, the vaccine program within the Garden Route currently is just indicates that the total first dose given was 119, sorry, 119,061 first doses given, whereby the Sonke program was 7,945, the J&J program was 20,189, and the Pfizer first dose given so far was 90,927. And then the total second dose Pfizer given to date is 43,981. So 13 private vaccination sites have been activated within our district. 27% of the Garden Route population over 18s have received their first dose, and that is obviously part of the Sonke program. And as from the 20th of August 2021, vaccine programs was made open to all people. And this greatly simplifies the criteria and the eligibility for vaccinations and will increase efficiency with regards to our vaccination program. We are expecting to receive a total of 25,499 vaccines this week, which will be the Pfizer 22,194, and then the J&J being 3,305, which is about the maximum that we can manage in a week. So if the consignment arrives, we will have enough for the week. And that just gives you an overview of what the vaccine program is at currently. Looking at the different age groups, starting with the over 60s, and this was also information dated for the 23rd of August, not 23rd of July. 23rd of August, the over 60s group, 75.2% have registered, and 83.3% of these registered were vaccinated, which means that they're nearly at a herd immunity for this age group. This just to note that this is normally the age group that end up in hospital. Going to the second one, the over 50 age group, 48.7% have been registered and 75.8% of these have been vaccinated. And then looking at the last age group, which is 35, 36.2% have registered and 75.8% of these have been vaccinated. So that just gives you an overview more or less of where we are. The current position with regards to funeral undertakers. So far, the undertakers reported for the period of the 7th of August until the 13th of August that they currently have 138 shelves left, which consists of 27.6% of the available space. And then there are 996 coffins available. Yeah, thank you. So that just gives you an overview of where we are in terms of our undertakers and our capacity at this point in time. Next slide. So basically, on a different note, we actually had the Garden Route District Municipality DMC received an early warning for disruptive rainfall for the 19th of August, of which we it was indicated that it was possible disruptive rainfall, especially along the coastal areas, and obviously that includes George, Knysna, Bito, Mossel Bay. This warning was disseminated to all stakeholders on the Garden Route District Municipal DMC early warning database immediately, and that was on the 17th, 18th of August. I can just, that just gives you an indication of the rainfall measured for this time period, and I'll just basically just touch on the 3 rainfall gauges that received rainfall above 50 milliliters, and that was Bloemfontein, which received 82.4 milliliters, George, Tier, which received 51 milliliters, and then Babomskraal, which received 64.8 milliliters.
My apologies, ma'am. I would just like to get Iris Skinner back out of the room. Thank you. Please proceed.
And that just gives you an indication of how much rainfall received during that period, and then also for the month. Can we just move on to the next slide, please? So basically, the environmental health practitioners have been monitoring the area and gave health and hygiene education to affected residents. The EHPs will inspect the Mullen River mouth and take water samples to analyze the fecal coliform contamination that might be present in the water. And George municipality must clean, collect the waste, and dispose the landfill site. George municipality must reconstruct a road that collapsed during the heavy rains, and then George municipality must render services and clean all the mobile toilets. And then obviously George municipality lastly must eradicate illegal electricity connections that impose the risk to the community. And that was based on the incident that we had during that period in Thembaletu. And that's it from my side. Thank you, colleagues. Any questions?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ms. Lee and Hubert. You've done excellently. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. Although it was bad news, you presented it as good news. You presented the bad news in a good style. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Meyer.
Mr. Speaker, that is called passing the baptism of fire. Well done.
No further questions or comments on this matter? If none, can we then adopt the report, please? With thanks to the presentation. Mr. Barry, must please ask Gerrit Otto if you can do it again. I think you, yeah, but you're not only a lady, you're looking much better. Yeah, with the same hairstyle, please. I just love it. Thanks so much. I don't know what you call it, lollipops. Thank you. Thank you, colleagues. Can we then move to G1? That's the financial support for the erection of the new fencing, as well as the replacement of damaged fencing along the provincial roads network in the jurisdiction of the Garden Route District Municipality. It's page 251 to page 256. Any comment or input on this matter? Thank you, Alderman van der Werven.
Yeah, thank you, Speaker. We note this and we think it's long overdue because nothing beats safety. So we would like to see that this happened yesterday. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Alderman. Thank you, Councillor Spies.
Thank you, Speaker. This is an ongoing subsidy program, and I hope that even though with all the hesitancy about bureaucracy and dealing with provincial departments and municipal departments, that more landowners will take up the subsidy and that we will continue to, as Alderman van der Werven just said, that we continue to make our community safe, our roads safe, and protect our assets.
Thank you,
So
Councillor.
I will second Councillor van der Werven in the recommendation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councillor Spies.
We are now on H1. That's the MFMA Circular 88. The rationalization of planning and reporting requirements, page 257 to page 291. Just for interest sake, Mr. MM, will those rationalize a bit the reporting or not really? Will it make it easier? I know we local government's got lots of reporting to do all the time. Will this rationalize it a bit? Because it's quite a comprehensive report that one must submit. Very insightful, if I may say.
Yes, thank you, Speaker. We indeed hope that this process will make things simpler. There's a lot of duplication in terms of reporting on the same information to various people. We move from back to basics, back to basics, and then we were project consolidating at some point. You will recall when we started. So we hope this one gives us time on a quarterly basis to really submit reports that are substantive. And we hope it will rationalize the process. Thank you.
Thank you, Emin. Input or comment on this matter? Item H1.
Chair, in the absence of any other comments, I'd like to propose we accept the recommendations on page 257.
Thank you so much, Councillor Lambert. Can I get a seconder for that item then?
I second that, Speaker. Councillor Strubel.
Thank you, Councillor Strubel. We then move to H2. That's the consideration of the Garden Route District Municipality Integrated Human Settlement Strategic Plan. And this is almost like a doctorate when you read this. Yo. And I thought there was much thinking and concentration going into drafting also the recommendations there. And there is no room for improvement on this one. There you've got it, councillors. H2, any input, comments that you would like to make?
Speaker,
I do have a comment, Speaker. Sorry.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Alderman van der Werven.
Thank you, Speaker. Sorry for not raising my hand and waiting for me to be allowed to speak, but I was afraid I miss it. I'll miss it. Speaker, this is applaudable, and we do agree to this, but we are not catering for the middle income, for the real middle income. Any household, Speaker, with a joint income of plus 20,000 rand is lost in the park. We have created a middle income, we have created a huge middle income group in South Africa since 1994. Specifically African people advanced from this. But Speaker, I always say they are the missing middle. They're the missing middle because there isn't the support. We urge and we plead that we must try and see how we can address the middle income group as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Alderman van der Wilderen. Anybody? I see Alderman Gericke. Please, Alderman Gericke, please proceed. Thank you.
Speaker, thank you. Human settlements is a very important topic and a dire need in every community, black and white, colored and Asian. So we must take this item very seriously moving forward. We must try to make as many as practically possible decisions regarding this type of items. I have spoken at length in the committee meeting. I'm not going to waste some time, but in agreement with Alderman van der Wilderen, there's a missing middle. People that really, they must first go and procure a loan of 200,000, 300,000 rand for land, and then they can concentrate on building walls and foundation. That is way too expensive. But I'm interested in the type of models that national government or the housing code propose in terms of rental stock, in terms of other stock also. Is there a possibility that we can have a look at those type of models in order to make it easier for your, ordinary citizen to have access to those type of models? I understand the context of this item, but there are other models that makes it more easily accessible to the general public out there. Simple question. They're talking about rental stock. The main thing is not just about RDP houses. Not everybody qualifies for an RDP house. So there are different types of models. You have the FLIS Finance Link Subsidy Program, and you also have gap housing and so on. What is the position of the district municipality moving forward in terms of those type of products? Thank you, Mr. MM.
Thank you, Alderman Gericke. For the MM response, is there anybody else that would like to make a comment or raise a question on the issue? Thank you. Thank you, our Executive Mayor, Alderman Boyson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to latch on the missing middle and the issues raised by Alderman Gericke in terms of what space do we want to play in. Mr. Speaker, we've always been clear that we want to complement what the bees are doing. The bees are doing breaking new ground, which is RDP, and they are stuck in terms of long waiting lists and long applications where the middle class don't even get an opportunity to get onto a specific middle income class list. And we said that is where we want to concentrate on. Now, just to come back to what type of model we're looking at, we need to apply our minds in terms of what we're currently seeing in George. As you go towards Pakkelsdorp, that is the kind of middle income that one can point a finger to that is existing within our district. We need to have a look at that and probably see in terms of are we happy with that? How can it be modified, etc., etc. But lastly, Mr. Speaker, in our engagements with other B municipalities, there are some B municipalities that have indicated that they actually want to walk away totally They don't even want to do BNG anymore. So they seeing this as an opportunity to drop it on us. So it is a discussion we need to have in terms of those who want to totally walk away. I'm aware of 2 municipalities that told us in our presentations, why don't we take everything? Because of their own struggle. So I am not sure if that is really what we want to do, but we need to do what works for the garden route and for our communities. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Any other input or comment before I give our municipal manager an opportunity? I see Councillor Spies. Thank you, Councillor Spies.
Oh, thank you very much, Speaker. Speaker, as public representatives, even if it's only till the end of October, I think all of us, because we are in politics, we are all very interested in delivering to our communities. But we can't just applaud the efforts of the administration in drafting these policies and bylaws, and then we don't follow them. So it's the responsibility of each of us as public representatives to please not just familiarize ourselves, but to become experts in what is put into these documents. Just to draw your attention to one matter. On page 361, there is a, this is a Western Cape document, a Western Cape government document that is included as in the whole plan. And the first step on page 361, how to do this is to define the affordability gap in your residential market. And we are not going to get anywhere if we are continually going to mix FLIS with social housing and then mix it with the missing middle, as Councillor van der Hoeven just said. We have to service all of these markets, but we have to define what we are working with and then prioritize the land and the planning accordingly. And that is what this document lays out in clarity. So we all must become, because this housing has always been, for the past 20 years that I know, is housing has always been the biggest political hot potato. And so we must all become experts in what is delivered in these documents, the two that we have in front of us here, so that we understand the policy framework and the planning framework that we are working in. It doesn't help that we start screaming at each other that we can't build blink dakkies and sinkhuisies and sulke goeders, but we don't understand the constraints and the possibilities that we are working with. So please, all of us must start working on this. Thank you very much, Speaker, and congratulations to the Housing Department on this document and its proposal. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Councillor Spies. Any further comment? I just hope Ms. Leanne Rubert doesn't leave us because she's getting bored. Yeah, because she's got other stuff to do. But you will excuse, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. Any other input or comment, Ms. MM? Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. I think the comments by councillors are noted. And I think we are in sync in terms of our priorities. Indeed, our plan does address the councillors' issues that they've raised in terms of our value proposition and our typology-driven model that we are proposing in the strategy. We do address social housing, rental opportunities, where we'll afford students and other people rental opportunities. We know that we've got a serious problem in the region for student accommodation. And that is, I think, the top of our priorities that we'll be bringing to this council to take forward. Indeed, the issue of the gap housing is addressed. If you look in the report, there are annexures that explain the various quantiles in terms of what needs to be afforded by a person and how government would assist. So we do attend to the gap housing through FLISP and the inclusionary housing program. You will note that in the Callisto project, we are talking about a number of beneficiaries that would be employed there that will be included in the program in terms of human settlements. And that is one of our flagship projects. We're talking about community residential units and public sector rental units. And this is to ensure that those persons that cannot or are not in a position to own, but do want accommodation, that they are settled properly. We are very clear on our value proposition from 9.3 of the plan, where we take it from planning to implementation, in terms of which we explain all the concepts I've just explained and how we're going to deal with the beneficiaries, and also how we deal with the issues of land, the land assembly process to address these matters. However, at this point, we are not, Mr. Mayor, dealing with the BNG strategy. We believe that the B municipalities are well placed to address that. We believe that it's closer to the people at what level for that program to be delivered there. Of course, there are challenges, and the mayor is correct. There's 1 or 2 municipalities that did voice in our sessions that why don't you take the whole thing lock, stock and barrel? But we said that's not the policy direction we're taking. However, we will be concentrating in these strategies that we have explained. So indeed, councillors, your concerns are noted and we'll be addressing them through the strategy that is in front of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Emin. That then concludes the discussion of this item. Can I get confirmation of proposal in a second on this item, please? It's very important.
Chair, I will propose we accept those recommendations, taking into account these comments and inputs. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Van Wyk.
I second my colleague's proposal, Chair.
Thank you, Elder Lady Kritzinger. Are we now on H3? And I see my good friend, Mr. Jantjies there at the back, sitting next to a very pretty lady. We must acknowledge their beauty, because that's what they are. There are flowers everywhere. Thank you. You've got the report. Any input or comment on this matter?
Chair, yes, I would just like to comment regarding how we at Garden Route District Municipality, even if it's with contract employment or it's with EPWP employments, how we bring change to people's lives, and this is really good to see that we are basically serious regarding unemployment in the district. I would actually, however, like to see that we can add more programs and register more programs for the EPWPs so that we can do better as far as that. But this is excellent. I must commend the department on this, and I would like us to adopt and accept this report. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Municipal Manager. Thank you, Other Lady Kritzinger. I almost asked also for applause, but let me first give the MM an opportunity.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted, before the report is approved, to also express our sincere appreciation to the department and the section, Mr. Menz and Mr. Janji, and you are hiding. Desiree, for the work that they are doing, Speaker. It's quite encouraging if you look at the numbers that are presented before us from the provincial government. It's quite encouraging. Their work is not unnoticed, and we would just like to say keep up the good work with Mr. Zaza in absentia, who is working very closely with you from the office of the mayor. But there is a concern, Speaker. And I think as a district, we must be concerned about the numbers we're getting from our other colleagues in the district. I think these are our communities. That's where we live. We see the poverty. And it's important that the opportunities that government provides are actually taken. Some of the percentages are not acceptable. There may be a lot of reasons why certain things happen, but I think collectively as government, we must be concerned about some of the reported numbers that are in front of us. But I think as we move forward, we'll be able to address those matters. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Levin. For the two of you there at the back, it's a pity that the camera can't show the rest what you did today. Yeah. But thank you so much. Also, Desiree Liberty, and Mr. Jantjes and team. I think you've heard the acknowledgement and the congratulations and the appreciation that council wants to convey to you on this matter. Thank you so much. Proposal and seconder. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I propose I'm a happy mayor regarding this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, I'll second the mayor there, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Van Wyk. We've dealt with H4. We now move to H5 on the addendum. That is the subject. The report is the report on the proposed financial support for Project Calitzdorp Export Agri Hub. H5. Mr. Mayor, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the MM alluded to one of the flagship projects that we should be proud of. I just need to explain, Mr. Speaker, and just give us some background. We will all remember that we as the Garden Route, we availed money for boreholes in this vicinity. Those boreholes are done. Studies have shown that there's enough water, and now it's a matter of finalizing certain testing. I know that they look at salt levels, iron in the water, and everything that goes with it. All of that is done, Mr. Speaker, in terms of the relevant skilled personnel to deal with those matters. But what is in front of us now, Mr. Speaker and councillors, it is something unforeseen in the sense that the Calitzdorp hub, they have dealt with provincial Department of Agriculture, they've dealt with National Department of Agriculture, there's another private entity that also deals with agriculture. And with those departments, there are agreements in place, colleagues, agreements which states that as soon as water is guaranteed, because no other banks, nobody wants to throw in financial resources into agriculture if there are no guarantees of water, because then it's going to become a futile exercise. What this has now struggled with, and this is why we're bringing this to council for approval. What they are struggling with at this stage, all the people who have, or the departments which have made pledges, their financial years overlap with what needs to happen on the ground. These trees out of the nurseries have a certain lifespan, and by a certain date, these trees must be planted. And the challenge here is the trees are sitting in a nursery because there's no piping that has gone to the identified land or available plots as yet. And these trees are going to die, and the project will run behind on schedule. These trees are supposed to be in the ground end of this month, based in terms of the cycle. The cycle is 3 years. The trees needs to go in now end of August. in order to honor all the offtake agreements which are already in place. Now, with this exercise, in fact, when they came to the garden route was to say that, can't you give us bridging fund? Because the departments which have made pledges are saying there's still no water. Although there's water in the boreholes, there are no water on the land. And for the piping, the hub was, what is the word? The hub was relying on the pledges from the different departments to finance and to start the piping. What has then transpired, Mr. Speaker, was they came to us and say, can't we bridge them the money for the piping? And in terms of the MFMA, we are not allowed to do that because we are not a bank. We can't do bridging finance. You either commit or you walk away. And to commit means you make provision in your budget for this to happen. But there is still a silver line here, colleagues, is that if we approve this today, we get the piping to the relevant land parcels, the trees gets planted, this project will reach the perceived deadline or the project in general. And only then by next year Feb, as an example, this is when the other departments' financial years kicks in. Would they then give the funding to this hub based on water being secured? And if we are lucky, and it is the intention, is that when money comes in, when private money comes in into this, our approval, today's approval might become a paper exercise, because we've had a meeting with the Klein Karoo Farmers Association in Oudtshoorn, where all the ostrich farmers and everybody else have now realized that ostrich farming is no longer viable, and they want to come on board onto this. And they have said that if we commit that we do support this, they would then provide the piping based on this amount, which we are budgeting for here today. They would provide the piping so that the project can continue. And if private money kicks in and we're keeping our fingers crossed, then we might not even have to spend this money. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Meyer. Any input or comment? Thank you also, Mr. Meyer, from our side, from the chair side, on all the passion and the action and the whatever you put into this. Any input or comment?
Mr. Speaker, while they're thinking, can I just add, nothing has changed in terms of our MOU with the hub. The empowerment components, everything is still intact. The fact that we're getting, I know that we've read all of this, that we're getting the desalination plants, etc. But the other additional benefit to this, Mr. Speaker, is that this project is now getting bigger in terms of our contribution towards those boreholes, which then means even the BEE component would also then get bigger. And that is a discussion that we will have as this thing grows and unfolds. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Meyer. Can I get a proposal and a seconder then for this item, please?
Chair, Speaker, I want to propose this, that we accept that recommendations on page 444.
Thank you, Councillor van Wyk.
Speaker, if I may, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Lambajin.
Thank you, Speaker. Bye-bye.
Colleagues, we now almost at the end, if I'm correct. We've got 2 items that we need to consider in closed session. Can I then ask our Secretariat to ensure that we no longer are public? And let me thank everyone. Let me thank everybody that has tuned in, and thank you for your interest and being active citizens to also assist us and support us in the achievement of our objectives. We really appreciate your attention and presence. And have a